There's a new kid on the gaming block. Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we have quite a few questions for Google's new gaming platform. Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Unless you've been living under a rock or without social media or electronics, Google recently revealed its new gaming/streaming service, Google Stadia. The conference was highly informative and there's a ton of things to get excited about, but we still have quite a few questions that need to be answered. Let's start with the obvious one. Pricing. This was the first thing on our minds once Google ended the conference. Not one time did they specify anything regarding pricing. They didn't even mention if it was going to be a digital storefront or a subscription service. Granted, we have a feeling it'll be the subscription model, but it's probably going to be more expensive than Google's other products, for example, Drive storage plans. On top of that, we also have to keep in mind that the prices of games most likely won't change. Given that most gamers are paying for Nintendo Online, PlayStation Plus, and Xbox Gold, Google needs to find that sweet spot to get players on board. It'll certainly prove a challenge, since the aforementioned services provide a bevy of benefits to justify their prices.
Collectively, our partners across web, Google Play, and YouTube have earned more than $110 billion over the past 4 years alone, and we are committed to this approach here as well.
International rollout.
We are dead serious about making technology accessible for everyone.
Google announced that Stadia will be available in the United States, Canada, and most of Europe sometime this year. Did anyone else get the feeling like someone was missing? Japan, South Korea, China? Those countries have some of the biggest gaming audiences in the world, so omitting them from launch is a big head-scratcher from a business perspective. There was no mention of India, Mexico, New Zealand, or Australia, though, granted, some of those countries' internet speeds may not be ready to support Stadia yet. Maybe Google want to dip their toes in the water in North America and Europe before expanding worldwide, but it still would be nice to know when our friends across the globe can get their hands on Stadia.
Yes! High five! Right, bam!
Latency.
We were humbled by the overwhelmingly positive response from players who were able to join us on Project Stream. A huge thank you to those of you who participated in Project Stream and for your vital feedback.
This is a major issue that plagues streaming services as well as online games, and it's cited as the main reason why previous game streaming service OnLive failed. In case you aren't familiar with the term, your latency is the amount of time it takes for a system to respond after inputting a command. While Google showed strong results during their Project Stream trial run, it's important to note that Google handpicked who could try the service. Results will be vastly different once the service is available to the broad public. So, how badly is this going to affect the latency? Unless Google can answer this question, we may just have to wait until launch.
Thanks, Khaled. Great presentation.
Bandwidth requirements.
We've been testing this technology privately within Google for years. For our initial public test with Project Stream in 2018, we delivered up to 1080p 60 frames per second with stereo audio.
During their test period for Project Stream, the service recommended an average connection of 25 megabits per second, which is huge, and lots of households aren't there yet. However, in an interview with Kotaku, Phil Harrison simultaneously said that Google has rapidly improved image compression technology, which would reduce the 25 megabit requirement, but also said that 4K streaming would push the requirement back up to 30 megabits. Granted, not everyone has a 4K TV, so those who are still using 720p and 1080p screens would really like to have a more specific answer for this one.
We know there are not that many homes or TVs in the world that have 8K today. But we also know the widespread adoption of 8K is inevitable.
Game preservation.
In this new generation, the data center is your platform.
A video game streaming service sounds great and all, but while streaming services could potentially prevent piracy and illegal cheating, it also creates a bigger problem in game preservation. Many games have fallen victim to getting lost in the digital ether. Licensed games such as the re-release of The Simpsons arcade game, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World the game, Transformers Devastation, and Deadpool are no longer in digital stores due to licensing issues. So, what's going to happen to games that are only available on Stadia and end up getting delisted? It's a very niche problem, yes, but a problem nonetheless.
When modern games start to push the boundaries of current hardware, rendering 2 or more scenes simultaneously becomes too resource intensive. And so split-screen couch co-op has been fading from gaming.
Effects on the competition.
Consoles are still going to be a flagship experience.
Google came out swinging for the fences when they were showing off Stadia. This is a gaming platform that can boot up games within seconds, requires no downloading or installations, and is free of any expensive hardware limitations that both PC and console gaming faces.
We actually went to buy the least powerful PC we could find here.
With such promising features, what does that mean for the other platforms? Well, Microsoft and EA are both preparing their own cloud gaming service, but with Stadia having dedicated YouTube support, they'll need to provide some strong features of their own. On top of that, Valve and Epic will both have to buckle down and show casual gamers why their stores are the better option. And finally, Sony and Nintendo might need to restructure PlayStation Plus and Nintendo Online in order to compete with Google. As for the future of consoles, it's unlikely they'll disappear anytime soon, but they will have to adapt to sell well.
It's amazing for traditional console players because it gives them another place to play. But what's incredible is for the people who haven't been introduced to this type of gaming.
People who've never seen a franchise like Halo or never seen a franchise like Gears. It's pretty amazing.
Games at launch.
Gamers are going to be able to find, discover, and enjoy your games anywhere they are.
So far, Google has a solid showing of support from third-party studios. We have Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Doom Eternal, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and the NBA 2K games, which will be available at launch. But the major question is, what other games are going to be available at launch? And when will they be available? Google says that they have more details to share in June, and hopefully, they'll reveal a good launch lineup.
This is the first step in the journey, and we'll be connecting with you again in the summer to share more details on the games you'll get to play at launch and beyond.
Japanese titles.
Consider it a gift, in honor of us finally meeting.
As we mentioned before, Japan is one of the biggest countries for the gaming industry. With Stadia not being available in Asia, this poses a big problem for fans of Japanese studios. It certainly doesn't help that many popular game franchises like Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, Devil May Cry, and even Pac-Man are made in Japan. If Stadia won't be accessible to developers in Japan at launch, does that mean Japanese titles won't be available either? Google is going to need the best of Western games to make their platform appealing.
To achieve that, we're providing multiple ways to make games for Stadia. You can develop on our cloud, your cloud, and at your desk.
Exclusive titles.
Passion is at the root of all great games, and it's what motivated me to join Google.
Third-party support isn't enough for a gaming platform to survive, even if your platform doesn't have a box. You're going to need a good amount of exclusives that give people a reason to jump aboard. Super Mario Bros., Halo, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, all of these were amazing titles that sold their consoles at launch. Hopefully, Google's first-party studio, Stadia Game & Entertainment, has something in development that isn't a tech demo. What we hope they don't do is resort to timed third-party exclusives, especially following the controversy surrounding Metro Exodus and more recently, The Outer Worlds being locked to the Epic Store on PC. Please, Google, just don't do that.
Look, I get it. Taking on the corporation has left us with two choices, bad and worse.
Google at E3. Let's be honest, E3 is going to be insanely weird this year, with EA not having a press conference, hooray, and Sony will be absent as well. God damn it! If Google wants to roll with the big boys at Nintendo, Bethesda, and Ubisoft, they're going to have to show a strong hand at the poker table that is the gaming industry. With two major players missing this year, Google has the perfect opportunity to demonstrate a strong lineup of future titles, as well as giving the public more details.
I'm thrilled to announce that Stadia is launching this year, 2019.
Check out these other great clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.